Good, David. So, hi guys, welcome to today's ClearBooks webinar. So nice of you to, so nice to see you guys joining already. So really good. So today's webinar is a big subject, of course. It's all about the MTD income tax. So this is the MTD action plan, and it's to over the next sort of hour. We'll be showing you how MTD income tax will be more a benefit than a burden. So let's introduce ourselves. So I am your account manager. So I can see some familiar faces already, so that's great to see. So if you're new to ClearBooks, I also provide demos, one-to-one consultations, and that goes for all of you if you do need any support with your ClearBooks practice. Today we're also joined by David Carr. He is the CFO at ClearBooks. Hi, David.
Good morning. Nice to meet you, everybody. So yes, I'm David. I'm the CFO at ClearBooks. I've been here for about 8 years. I'm a chartered accountant and worked in product management for technology companies before I joined ClearBooks as well. And in my spare time, I volunteer as a treasurer for a community interest company, sort of helping them out. So I'm sort of hands-on on the ledger for ClearBooks and for a client, if we think about it that way. And then in the tiny little bit of spare time I have outside of that, I teach group fitness classes on the weekends. So just as a little bit of a introduction to me, that's my background and a little bit of my personality, perhaps. Thanks, Martin.
No worries. I believe, David, you're more excited about this webinar than the Star Trek episode. I don't know if that's
I think that's cool.
Nice. Brilliant. I think I've won a fiver there then. And Pete, he's here today. Pete Jones, our product manager. Hi, Pete.
Hi, I'm Pete Jones. I'm product manager at ClearBooks. So originally an accountant many years ago, but yeah, most of my career has been in accounting software. So I've been at ClearBooks for a few years, and I'm leading the development of the MTD for income tax capabilities, which I'm excited to show you all today. Back to mine.
Brilliant. I don't know, Pete, if you're more excited about this than Liverpool winning the league title on Sunday. So that's true. And we're also joined by a guest speaker today, Rumana Jeffreys. She is an accounting coach. Hi, Rumana.
Hello. Hi, Martin.
Brilliant. So we'll touch on what you do a little bit in a moment when we touch on the agenda. But first things first. Regarding questions, you can leave a question throughout this webinar. So all you need to do, for those that have just joined, there should be a square full of dots on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. When you select that, it should be the third one down on the pop-up box, Q&A. And once you select that, you can then ask a question. So I'll keep an eye on your questions over the course of the webinar, and then we'll touch on those later towards the end of the webinar. So let's touch on the agenda. So first things first, we'll have the MTD. So David will present that, what, who, and when, all about MTD income tax on ClearBooks, followed by Rumana, who will be going through what accountants can see as more of a benefit. So just going through MTD income tax, how you can sort of use it to your advantage, how you can retain clients, and also just win clients as well. So worth tuning in for that. And then we have Pete demonstrating MTD for income tax on ClearBooks. So you don't want to miss this. It's going to be really interesting to see. It's going to be really insightful. So it's going to be really good for you guys to see. And then next up will be the next step. So after everything that you've seen from 1 to 3, you'll be able to see what will happen next, and Dave will be able to go through that. And right at the end, as mentioned, we'll go through the Q&As as well. So I'll leave that to you, David, for step 1 of the agenda.
Thanks very much, Martin. So we've all been hearing a lot about MTD over the last few months, and we'll continue to hear more and more over the next 12 months and beyond. And that's why we're all here today. So ClearBooks has got a long history with digital tax. We going back as far as 2009, well before the phrase MTD even existed, we were submitting digital VAT returns through the old XML transaction engine. We were one of the first to submit MTD VAT returns back in 2018. And we have digital filings for payroll, for construction industry scheme, and then now today for MTD for income tax. So we've got a long history of being successful in this space. Having said that, though, we don't just do the filings, we make them really easy, which we'll see in our demo later today. So this will make it simple and fast for you to support your clients to stay compliant through MTD for income tax. Let's just briefly recap on what MTD is and where we are in this change, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm sure we all know, well, most of us will be familiar with this, but just to set the foundations. Making Tax Digital is the government's initiative to digitize the tax environment. It was first rolled out for VAT, and then now for income tax, it's happening now. So self-assessment is a broad tax scheme, but only some taxpayers will need to comply with Making Tax Digital for income tax, and at different times. So who's affected? It's the self-employed, your clients who have sole trade income. It's landlords, which means anyone with property income, and this includes, accidental landlords who maybe inherited a home, or, a married couple whom they rent out one of the houses. They're caught up in it as well. And this also includes foreign property income. So the threshold is that if the taxpayer is affected if their combined income for those sources is over £20,000. You can join voluntarily as well, and there are some benefits to that, which we'll have a look at later on. And it's affecting both taxpayers and tax agents. So one thing to keep in mind is that a taxpayer is either in MTD for income tax or they're in self-assessment, the old way. So you can't, it can't be in both at the same time. And what does this mean in practice though? So there's 3 requirements that come along with Making Tax Digital. The first is digital record keeping. So Clearbooks does this through and through. I mentioned before about our lineage, our heritage in digital tax. So we've been doing this for well over a decade. Digital links is another requirement, which again is an integral part of Clearbooks. So that part is sort of ticked by using Clearbooks. And then the third key part is submissions to HMRC's APIs. So again, our digital submissions, it's our bread and butter. So there are 4 in-year submissions or quarterly updates, and plus there's an end-of-year tax return that needs to be submitted digitally as well. And all of this needs to be done using HMRC recognized software. And that's ticks for Clearbooks all round. So we'll see that a little bit later on. When will it roll out? So this is the time frame. We're here now in April 2025, and then this is the time frame, the view of Making Tax Digital for income tax. It starts now. So this blue lozenge, this bar, is the period of time that the quarterly updates are required to be submitted, and then the blue dot is the end of the deadline for the end of year filing for the tax return. So taxpayers can voluntarily participate now, start submitting their quarterly updates now, and then it will become mandatory for taxpayers earning over 50,000 from April 2026. The following year, taxpayers earning over 30,000 will be mandated, and the year after, all of the taxpayers with the 20,000 threshold and above will be impacted. So it is expected that there might be additional mandation for taxpayers with lower incomes, but that's not currently planned. And then this is 5 years of things for us to concern ourselves with. So the important things to get started now. So how does this all fit together? So at the end, this is the tax year. So if you think about that blue bar that we saw in the previous slide, there are 4 quarterly submissions that have to happen during the tax year. And so here we can see the tax year. At the end of the first quarter, income and expenses need to be submitted to HMRC using recognized software like Clearbooks. The deadline's about a month after the period ends. And this is just information. There's no tax liability linked to this submission. 3 months later, after the end of the second quarter, the second submission needs to be made. This is a year-to-date update or submission. So this includes all of the income and expenses from the start of the year until the end of quarter 2, and it overrides the first submission. The next quarter, the same thing happens. There's a year-to-date update. So they're called quarterly updates, but in reality, they're happening quarterly, but they're all of year-to-date values. So let's say this is April to December for simplicity's sake. And then you get to the end of the tax year, and then a 4th quarterly update for the whole year needs to be submitted at the approximately 1 month after the end of the year. So again, none of those have any tax liability. After the end of the tax year, you can make your accounting adjustments to modify those values to make them accurate and complete. You can submit the capital allowances, the reliefs, adjustments, and everything else that's required to arrive at the taxable profit for that business. And that whole process is completed for one particular business. So I mentioned before, we've got landlords, we've got UK property. Sorry, that's the same thing. We've got sole traders, we have UK property, we have foreign property. And so each of those is what HMRC call a business income source. So you need to do that for your, let's say, your florist business, and then you'd also need to do it for your UK property income, and then also for your dog walking business, and then also for your your foreign property income. So each of those processes needs to be repeated for each business income source. After that, the actual taxpayer themselves needs to have their entire tax position finalized. So all of your other income sources, so for example, bank interest, employment income, any CGT, all these things need to go in. Then you can review the final tax calculation, pulling together all of the business income sources and the other income sources, all the reliefs, adjustments, everything, and then make what's called a final declaration. And this is essentially submitting the tax return and triggering that tax liability. And so this last part here where the bracket is showing, this is essentially the MTD equivalent of the tax return. And the other parts are the sort of like the MTD kind of quarterly updates sort of part of it. So if a taxpayer is an MTD, then all of this happens in the HMRC recognized software like ClearBooks. ClearBooks supports all of this, so we will be looking at that. Pete will be showing that to us later on this morning. I will note that if you do happen to use some other tax software that you just can't give up for whatever reason, provided that supports the necessary MTD requirements, then you can use ClearBooks for part of this process and another piece of software for the other part if that's what suits your practice and your clients. So there will be some changes to what you're going to have to do and what your clients are going to have to do, and so we will be exploring a little bit of that later on today. But the key takeaway is that if you're using ClearBooks, it will be easy to be compliant with these Making Tax Digital for income tax requirements. So that's that's sort of like the overview. That's the starter, just to make sure that, to catch us all up. You know, perhaps you already knew all of this, and that's great if that's the case. And if you didn't, I'm hope that was interesting and useful to get a baseline. And I will now hand over to Rumana to take us through how accountants can benefit from this change. Rumana, I will stop presenting. I'll let you share your screen.
Can you see that, David?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so how to leverage MTD to attract, win, and retain clients. So those of you that don't know me, I hate this bit actually, but apparently it's a must. I've got over 12 years experience in accounting, tax and payroll. I've been coaching accountants and consulting accountants and CPAs across the UK, US and Canada. I'm also studying a digital marketing communications degree. Flying to fly. I'm getting my private pilot's license. I've always been into flying since I was a little girl, and I'm finally at that position where I think I'm ready for my exam. Actually, it's a bit daunting because I do have to fly for 45 minutes on my own and back. So that's a bit scary, but yeah, I'll get there. I also am a mum of 3. I have an 8-year-old son, a 6-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old little terror. But I love them to bits. So businesses affected by MTD, David already touched on this, but we're looking at construction tradespeople, we're looking at consultants. So even like you've got PR consultants, you've got marketing consultants, you've got data protection consultants, all sorts of consultants, even legal consultants. You've got landlords, UK or foreign. one of the most popular ones, actually, that a lot of my clients seem to be affected by is Uber and Just Eat drivers. So a lot of their self-employed clients are Uber and Just Eat drivers, even multi-drop drivers, Amazon drivers, DHL, Yodel, people like that. Got hairdressers, beauticians. So there's a wide range of businesses that will be affected by MTD. And what does it mean for accountants? More work, more chasing clients for information. I'm sure all of you can relate to that one. Less time for you, more HMRC inquiries possibly, more HMRC posts to deal with, more questions from clients. All of this seems very, very negative. But it does mean no more receipts in a bag. It does mean higher fees. It does mean additional monthly recurring income. The majority of clients being online, so easily accessible real-time data, so that you can actually provide the service that you want to. You want to be able to provide up-to-date advice to your clients. Easier to upsell additional services. It's so much easier to monitor the client's finances, see where they are. At the moment, obviously from April 2026, it's if they have 50K plus income, but it gives you an opportunity to then sit down with the business owner. So we'd sit down with the landlords, for example, and talk about their plans going forward and, what they are intending on doing in the long term, whether or not you can offer perhaps virtual finance director services, more advisory work, and help them reach that goal that they're looking for. So what's going to happen in the accounting industry? So it's similar to when MTD VAT was rolled out. Some accountants will not adopt and look to retire. There are a lot of accountants out there that perhaps been in industry, perhaps been in practice for 20, 30 years. They like the old school desktop, Sage. They like, receipts in a box, etc. It's just what they're used to, and all this technology, it's not for everybody. So Generation X and baby boomers probably looking to retire, probably looking to sell. When MTD VAT came in, I sold. Now I'm a millennial, but I just couldn't handle it. It was just too much. But I actually sold my firm. Some will leave it too late to prepare their clients, and the clients will leave. So I'm sure you've seen, if you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, or even like business networking groups, you probably would have seen people talking about MTD and talking about, oh, what's going on. We've heard of this, but we haven't actually heard of it from our accountants. They haven't told us anything about it. They don't know we don't know what we need to do to prepare, if we need to do anything to prepare. So unfortunately, a lot of there are a group of accountants out there that will leave things last minute, and they're the typical ones that are not proactive, maybe lack communication with their clients, and it's not their fault. They probably just like sitting in the back office entering data, and that's what they're happy with. But unfortunately, it means their clients will be affected, and those clients will be upset and look to leave. Some literally just do not want to work with clients that fall within the MTD income tax bracket, so they might be pivoting their business. They might be looking at, okay, we're going to have to do more limited companies. We want to target higher turnover companies. We want to target companies that have, more employees on the payroll. We want to be offering more advisory services. So, I've been working with a top 20 accountancy firm in the UK, and they don't want to do self-assessments at all. They don't want to deal with self-employed people at all. They just want to deal minimum turnover, 1 million plus clients. So that is another thing that is happening currently. What's going to happen to clients? Well, as we know, some will bury their heads in the sand. Some will choose to manage the returns themselves. I was actually participating in a discussion on a Facebook group a few days ago, and it was all to do with landlords. And the landlords were saying, oh, we're going to do it ourselves. It's easy. We're going to do it ourselves. But actually, as we know from experience with MTD VAT, it's not as easy as doing it yourself. Some will just choose to let their existing accountant handle it, and some will choose to appoint specialized accountants. And when I mean specialized accountants, I mean these specific sole traders or landlords that want an accountant that they deem to be a specialist in MTD itself, in their industry, and they're not going to want to just go with a generic accounting firm. They're going to want somebody that is really marketing themselves as the go-to person or firm. Thomas Edison once said, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. I absolutely love this quote, because the discussions that I'm seeing at the moment with accountants, everyone's panicking. A lot of people are panicking. Oh, there's so much work to do, so much chasing up the clients, so much, if the clients are doing it themselves, then it's going back and checking their work and spending extra time fixing mistakes, correcting their mistakes, etc., etc. But the positive in this is that it is an opportunity. If clients are doing it themselves, well, you can upsell your bookkeeping services, get them to outsource everything to you, point out their mistakes, point out what is affecting them personally. So yeah, they might want to save a few quid by doing it themselves on an online bookkeeping software such as ClearBooks or whatever. But what happens when they're trying to spend an hour reconciling everything and you then go back and say to them, look, it's completely incorrect, or we're going to have to change this? Tell them about the time that they spent away from their kids, the time that they spent away from selling their products or services, the time that they spent away from their partners, away from going to the gym, because they are literally spending that time trying to do everything themselves online. If you hit their target, if you hit their pain points, they will understand that actually it's easier to send it all to you. You can charge more fees, but it's completely worth it for them. So there is an opportunity here. So how can you attract more clients? So at the moment, what we're looking at, so I like I said, I've been an accountant since 2011. I've had my own firm since 2014. I've started, scaled, and exited 3 accountancy firms. And I have been coaching and consulting other accountants, but I also am a partner in a digital marketing agency. So we can see what's working and what's not in the industry. And the 2 things that are right now most effective are content marketing and SEO. Now, I'm sure you've heard of these things before, but it's a case of you and your firm need to be seen as the go-to for MTD income tax. Okay, you've got to stand out. You need to elevate your online presence. It's the cheapest way and the fastest way to attract new clients. Everybody Googles, everybody looks on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, X. People are more tech savvy these days. If you're looking for a gardener, you might look in your local Facebook group and post in there, does anybody recommend a gardener? If you're looking for a taxi service to drive you to the airport, you're going to look on Facebook or you're going to look on Google. Everybody is used to searching online for things that we need. What we talk about is there are 4 core marketing strategies to really help you grow your business and attract new clients, win them, retain them, etc. Now, the number 1 is probably referrals. Most accountants, when they start up, they look for recommendations from friends and family, and as you grow, you're probably growing in a nice way, but you're probably growing based on referrals. So the biggest source of clients is probably coming from referrals and nothing else. You've got inbound marketing, so things that are coming to you directly. So it could be LinkedIn messages from people that have seen your content, and they're messaging you, looking to book a call with you or interested in your services. You've got outbound marketing, so you're putting stuff out there, you're putting content out there. You might be doing direct mail, you might be doing cold calling. There's all sorts of things that you could be doing. And then you've got strategic partnerships. Now, I know one of my biggest source of new clients or leads was through people that I had good relationships with. So one of my firms, we specialized in property tax, so we dealt a lot with landlords. So obviously it made sense to speak to mortgage brokers surveyors, so estate agents. So having that core group of people that we can form a strategic partnership with, we ended up getting quite a lot of very, very good, high quality clients come through from these mortgage brokers and estate agents. And obviously we gave them something in return as well, whether it was commission, whether it was profit sharing, whether it was just turning up and doing webinars or seminars with them. And that elevated their credibility as well as ours. So what you can do, so things to work on right now, is work on your referral marketing so that existing clients are ready to recommend their friends and family to you. The amount of times you probably think, oh, my friends and family know what I do, but they don't. They're not accountants. They're not in the industry. They don't. So make it clear to them exactly what you do. So when they are speaking to other people, when they're going off to work or when they're talking to friends, they know exactly what you do, that you can cater for those people that are caught up with MTD income tax. One of the best ways to do that is offer them a free lead magnet. So it could be a guide, a checklist that they can pass on. So it could literally be a checklist, are you MTD ready? Something visual that they can see, something that they can actually send on. It doesn't have to be a printed version. Obviously, you want to save as much money as possible. Do it all online. Send a PDF version. That can be shared on WhatsApp. That could be shared on WhatsApp groups. It can be uploaded onto Facebook. It could be emailed out. The third thing to do is, and this is very, very important, is get your existing clients to write a review on Google. Now, what I found is if you if you export a list of all your clients with their email addresses, have a look first. Firstly, have a look at which ones have a Google account. So normally you'd see like gmail.com. Pick those first, because as you all know, we're all logged into multiple different things on our phones, our emails, our social media, everything's logged in already on our phones. If you send me an email and I have a gmail.com email address, and you send to me as an accountant, you send me an email and you say, hey, Rumana, can you send me a Google review, please? I really appreciate it if you left me a Google review. If I click on that link, because I'm already logged in on my Google account on my phone, I don't need to register. I don't need to sign in. It will straight away take me to a point where I can literally just type the testimonial, the review out, and then press submit. Whereas if you're sending it to other email addresses, yes, they might take longer, because once that person opens that email, they have to click on the link. It takes them to Google. Google wants them to sign in. They might have forgotten their login details. I'm very guilty of that sometimes, but it could be that they think it's too many steps. Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And it never happens. Later never comes round. So if you want quick reviews, have a look at the email addresses for your clients, pick the Gmail ones, send them the link first. And that's it's a really good, effective way of getting reviews ASAP. And then we've got inbound marketing. So, you can leverage your personal brand on social media. I'm sure many of you have seen lots and lots of talk about personal branding on LinkedIn. It's not a gimmick. It's not a fad. It's not going away. It is something that is here to stay. It's been around for a while, but only now people are really, really seeing the benefits of it and actually working hard as an actual strategy to build their personal brand. When I mean personal brand, who are you? Okay. I'm sure you've had clients that say, my accountant is Jennifer. My accountant is Mark. Not my accountant is ABC Co Limited. Okay. So most people will build that personal relationship with you. They'll feel connected to their accountant that talks to them, that emails them, that goes through their year-end accounts with them, that goes through the tax liabilities with them. So you are the business. It has to be you. You've got to come online and say, this is me, it's my firm, but I'm the accountant, and this is what my values are, this is what my beliefs are, this is what we can do for you as our client, etc. Creating a digital asset. So, it could be, like I said, lead magnet, guide, checklist. It could be a webinar. It could be a seminar. It could be anything like that. Get your followers to access in exchange for an email address. Email marketing is still one of the #1 ways to nurture leads, follow up, and sign them up. A lot of people, unfortunately, do not use email. Some of the big firms are capitalizing on it, they're leveraging it, and they can see it's really, really working. So don't miss out. Definitely look at email marketing. Optimize your website and online presence for SEO. People, accountants are not very good at doing this. Agencies will charge a fortune, and I know because we do the same. Our agency, like I said, I'm just an investor, but I do see the numbers. It's a lot of money and it takes time. SEO isn't overnight. And there are lots of accountants that have put it off because they think, oh, MTD is going to be put off again. It's just going to be delayed like it has been for the last few years. But actually, it's not going to be delayed anymore. We know that because we see HMRC talking about it. We see the software companies talking about it. And that means it's happening. April 26 is happening unless something really, really drastic changes. But I doubt that. So, optimize your website. And, there are lots of ways you can do that. Don't dismiss the power of Facebook. There's a lot of opportunity, especially landlord groups. I grew my property tax firm just on social media, and I started off by doing it on Facebook groups, by providing advice, tips, giving good, thoughtful answers and opinions. And I grew a following, and then actually got one of my biggest ever clients came from a Facebook landlord group. And if you looked at him, he didn't have a proper picture of himself. There was nothing on his feed other than his wife tagging him in pictures where they'd been on holiday and things like that, or his mates tagging him in pictures when they'd gone to the pub. But there was no description, nothing on his bio. So if you just went on his name, on his profile, you just think, who is this person? But actually, he was one of the biggest clients I'd ever signed up. So it can be quite deceiving. So don't dismiss the power of Facebook. What social media do I need to use? The simple answer is wherever your target audience is. Okay, that's it. So think about your target audience. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on TikTok? Where are they? And find them that way. Simply learning copywriting. You can really go viral on LinkedIn. A few of my clients have had that. They've gone viral. They've had nearly 1 million views on their posts. And when you go viral, you have the opportunity to really put your message out there for so many more people to look at your profile, connect with you, make inquiries with you. So it's a really great platform. Facebook too, especially in terms of targeting small businesses. There are groups for everything. There are mums groups, dads groups, there are builders groups, there are landlord groups, there are hairdressers groups, everything. Anything you can think of is on there. You want to be posting educational posts, personal, inspirational posts, and case studies. Now, educational because it gives you that credibility. People know, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. Personal, are you somebody that I can work with? Are you an accountant that I can actually ring up and have a chat with and feel comfortable asking questions to? Or are you just going to ignore me and just reply via emails? It gives a sense of intimacy, and a lot of the time the relationship between accountants and clients is an intimate relationship. And I say that because when I was in practice, I could tell which clients were having affairs on their partners. I could tell what clients were doing when they were visiting strip clubs. I could tell who had a gambling problem, who had an alcohol problem. But we see everything through their bank statements. We do. Like I said, inspirational and case studies. You want to be doing case studies so people can relate. They can put themselves in that story and understand that you actually know how to deal with them. Use storytelling to generate inbound leads. Storytelling is very, very effective. You don't have to be a marketer. You just have to be a human. Okay, so invoke emotion in every single post. Make them feel something. So whether they're frustrated, whether you make them feel scared, whether you make them feel disappointed, happy, I'm sure you'll see if you're on LinkedIn, especially the posts that do the most impressions are probably the ones where someone's got a new job. right? People are happy for them. They congratulate them. When people get married, people are happy for them. When somebody passes away, people are sad. When something bad happens, you know, people are angry. And all those things invoke emotion, and they really, really work well. People are scared to be on the wrong side of HMRC, especially that target group of the sole traders. So they don't want to get on the wrong side of HMRC. Leverage this, put fear into them and get them signed up on a monthly service. So you're getting paid every single month.
Sorry, Rumana. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, really, really interesting. Just to let you know, we're just doing a time check at the moment. I don't know if we can look at this a little bit later, or when we can come back to this in the Q&A.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you. So I think we're on to Pete next.
Lovely. Thanks, Martin. Right, let me just share my screen. Okay. So yeah, so I'm going to be taking you through a demo of ClearBooks and how we've solved the MTD for income tax problem. So I'll just start talking about just some of the fundamentals of ClearBooks. So those of you who are familiar with ClearBooks, you will know how it works as a strong foundation. You can use any or all of the input tools to get your accounting data into ClearBooks. We've got some great features like bank feeds and auto bills and auto explain. ClearBooks operates a full ledger system, so all the double entry is there in the background, and you can use as much or as little as you want. Digital record keeping and digital links are all built in, so you know you're compliant. Then with ClearBooks as your foundation, you can easily prepare and file MTD returns, generate client reports, export data for analysis, or integrate with other systems. So I'm going to run you through a live demo now. I'll take you through the one-off onboarding process, and then we'll submit some quarterly updates to HMRC, and then I'll take you through a couple of slides looking at the end of year process. So let's go and jump into the software now. Right, so I've got a sole trader set up here in ClearBooks, and we're looking at this sole trader's dashboard. What I'll do first of all is I'll just quickly create a few new digital records. So I'll start off with my bills inbox. So there's some bills to review already in this bills inbox, and I'm going to upload a new file for the current quarter. So I've got an invoice here. Let's load that in. So this is going to use the ClearBooks OCR and AI models to extract the information from that bill. And then we can review that and then save it to our purchase ledger. So there it is. Let's click on that one. So that's extracted information from that bill. And if I'm happy with that, I can just save it. So that's now a new digital record for that particular new expenditure. Let's jump back to the dashboard and we'll add a couple more new records, and we'll do that via the bank feed. So this particular sole trader's got 5 new transactions on their bank account. So I can click on that to go and see what those transactions are. Now I could go through and manually explain these or reconcile these. So I could match it with existing records in ClearBooks, or allocate to outstanding bills or invoices, or just create it as new expenditure. But rather than doing that, I'll just very quickly do that using this auto explain feature. So I'll hit the button. I can choose what type of bank transactions I want to auto explain. And I can also opt to always run this. So for this sole trader, they don't need to come in here and run this button. They can just switch this on, and then as soon as a bank feed update happens, whether it's in the middle of the night or the middle of the day, it'll just automatically process these transactions. So I'll run that now, and that's going to look through any unexplained transactions on that bank feed and automatically process it. So that's now explained those 5 transactions. So we've got an invoice that's been paid, another invoice that's been part paid. We've got some recurring expenditure for travel and advertising. And there's this frameworks building bill that I uploaded a second ago. So the payment's been made on the bank account, and that's been automatically allocated. So there you go. Just wanted to create a few new digital records there before we look at the MTD for income tax. So let's go and sign up this sole trader, or get this sole trader set up for MTD for income tax. So let's navigate there. So the first time you come here, you'll be asked to set up. So this is just a one-off process. And to get started, you can see the different brackets, the different thresholds at which people will be automatically signed up. For this scenario, this sole trader is already signed up voluntarily for the April 25 start. So we can get this account set up for this individual. So the national insurance number, that's the key identifier that links this individual to HMRC and their income sources. If they haven't got an HMRC account set up, there's a link here that will take them to that. And for agents, this link will take you to your agent online account. And you can sign up. You can go directly to the HMRC page for signing up for MTD for income tax from this setup page. And again, for agents, this will take you through to your agent's account where you can sign up multiple clients for MTD for income tax. The next step, I just need to authorize ClearBooks to be able to read and submit information for this particular individual. So I'll hit that button. I'll now be logging into HMRC with this individual's credentials. For agents, you're just doing this once for all of your clients. So you just need to authorize ClearBooks once. And then you'll be able to submit information for each of your individuals. Let's just hit that step. Okay. So now we've authorized ClearBooks for this individual. It's now going to show any business income sources. So this is data coming directly from HMRC for this individual. So they've just got one self-employment business, and I'm going to map that to this particular ClearBooks account, and it will show me the information that's held on the HMRC side for that particular business. Hit next, and that's it, we're done. So that's the one-off process done. This individual doesn't need to do it again. And as I said, for agents, once they've authorized once, they won't need to do that again. So they just need to basically enter in the national insurance number and select the business income source for individual clients. Right, so let's now go and look at the submissions page. So we're looking at the 25-26 tax year, and we've got this laid out as 4 individual submissions and then the total for the tax year at the end. As you can see, for each of these submission periods, it's cumulative, as David mentioned earlier. So every period starts from the 6th of April and then runs to the end of that particular quarter. So we're currently in April, so everything's at preview at the moment. But what I'm going to do is just very quickly jump forward in time to July so we can see what happens there, and we can actually do some submissions. So if I refresh this page now. So we're now in July. The first quarter is complete. I can now go and review this. So it will always show me like a summary of the profit and loss for that particular period. When I go into review, I can see the breakdown of that. This is currently showing me just the total expenses because I'm underneath the 90,000 threshold for submitting separate expense categories. But if you want to do it, you can still manually choose to view the full expense categories. And that will automatically separate out the digital records within ClearBooks into the different expense categories. If you want to go and interrogate this to see what these numbers are, you can just click on any of these and it will drill down to the individual transactions that make it up. There's that new bill that was uploaded. You can click right into that. So you can see the double entry in the ledger, and you can go right back to the original source document and even to the uploaded invoice. So as you can see, the MTD submissions are all built from the underlying digital records. So let's jump back to that submission period. So there we go. So if we're happy with that period, I can just one click submit to HMRC. And that's it. That's that quarter done. So that obligation is met. We've used HMRC recognized software to send income and expenditure totals to HMRC. Let's go back to the overview, and we can see that that particular period has been submitted, and that's it. We don't need to do anything for another 3 months. I can click on the details to go and view it. So this will read that data back from HMRC. So I can always see the last submission that was done. This is obviously read only because this is now the HMRC data that they're holding for this particular business. Right, I'm now going to just jump forward again. Let's go to October. We'll refresh this now. So I can preview any period, but now we're in October. This one's ready to submit. So let's click on review to submit to check that one. So again, I can drill down to see the data. As we can see, there's now data here for the second quarter of the year, but we've also got, because it's cumulative, we've also got all the transactions from the start of the year. So we don't need to worry about making a correction for previous submissions. As David said, each submission was always going to overwrite the previous one, and it's always cumulative for the whole tax year. So the same process, one click to submit, and it's quarter two done. If we jump back to the overview, we can now see that both of those quarters are submitted. I can't now go and view the previous submission because, as I said, HMRC only ever stores one submission for that tax year. But I can go and see the submission too if I need to. So then, as you can see, it's a very, very straightforward process. There's no requirement for the user to declare that the information is accurate or complete. So it's really down to how pragmatic you want to be as an agent, whether you want to just like check that the records are fundamentally correct and submit those, or you can actually use it as an opportunity to check for any errors or making sure that data is accurate before submitting. Okay, so that's the onboarding process and the submission process. What I'll do now is I'll now take us forward to the year end. So as David mentioned, for those who are on the MTD for income tax, there is no tax return anymore. They don't go to the HMRC site to submit a tax return. You need to use software to complete the year end process. So in ClearBooks, we're going to make this just as simple as our standard ClearBooks software. So this will be a dashboard-based approach where you'll be able to see your self-employment income from your different income, your different sole trades. You'll be able to see your UK property income, your foreign income, and then any other income sources. You'll also be able to use this to go and manually enter like savings, interest, dividends income, etc. And then you'll always be able to see the latest real-time tax calculation for this individual for this tax year. So if you wanted to view the tax calculation, you'll be able to see a breakdown of how that's made up. So you can then just go forward and enter in all the equivalent of the tax return information. And then once everything's complete and you're happy that that is the correct income tax and NI total for this individual for the year, you'll click a button to finalize the tax position, and then you'll get the standard final declaration text. So the individual will check this box and say, yep, I've finalized the tax position. And that's it. That's the year-end process done. So it's the equivalent of the tax return. Much of it is the same information as a tax return, but it doesn't need to be in the same format as a tax return. And we're going to make it as simple as possible for anyone to complete the MTD obligations for an individual. So we've seen how ClearBooks keeps digital records, automating data entry and bank reconciliation, and then how simple it is to submit quarterly updates. And we've seen a preview of the year-end process and how this will retain the straightforward user experience that all our current ClearBooks users are used to. So with that, I will thank you very much for watching this demo, and I will hand it back to Martin.
Thanks, Pete. So next up, we'll be talking about the next steps with David.
Thank you very much. We've really tried to, just like a group fitness class, start on time and finish on time. There's so much more that we'd love to cover. Pete has showed us very briefly bank feeds, auto explain, auto bills, and there's another really powerful feature we think will be super helpful for making tax digital, which is our Power Editor. So you can bulk search and edit transactions in ClearBooks. So I just wanted to sort of like reference back to that. that double funnel that we saw at the beginning of Pete's demo around the great record keeping and business management tools that we've got in ClearBooks, and then how easy it is to submit the MTD tax returns. But we won't go into any detail here because we want to make sure we finish on time. All of this is live already, right? So we've got automated bookkeeping, MTD quarterly updates that Pete demonstrated. We've got exporting for tax packages that I mentioned earlier on. MTD for VAT has been live for a few years already. The MTD end of year for income tax will be ready by April 2026, which is well in advance of when it will be pragmatically required by clients. And for self-assessment, we already have some functions around that as well. So if your clients aren't in MTD or won't be yet, all of the bookkeeping functions and the SA 103 and 105 forms are able to be taken out of ClearBooks, as well as exporting for tax packages too. So just to sort of like set that within the context, the broader context of what's live and what you can do today for clients to be compliant with MTD in advance of when it will become mandatory. So just a little pitch about ClearBooks. If you don't already know, we're really easy to use. We did a survey of our customers. 91% said that ClearBooks is either easy or very easy to use. So that's really, the proof of the pudding. Our Trustpilot score reflects that. And our customer support is excellent as well. 99% of our customer queries are responded to in 30 minutes. So I won't sort of labor this too much, but just to sort of, we've got lots of things in our toolkit that really set us apart. And then we have an offer as well. So if you have sole trader or landlord clients and you want to try out ClearBooks for them, if you sign them up in the next month, they will be free until April 2026. So book a call with us if you're interested in taking up that offer to have free ClearBooks for your sole trader and landlord clients, so you can help them be compliant for MTD in advance of the deadline. Next steps: participate in the pilot, get some clients on voluntarily, even though they don't need to yet. There's nothing to lose from doing that. There are no penalties or fines or extra tax liabilities or anything related to it. There's nothing to lose, and the software's here today. We can help you through that transition. You're welcome to book in a call with us to have a one-to-one chat. You can use the QR code here, or phone, or email us. And before we move into the Q&A, this is the same details for ClearBooks, and this is Rumana's details. So you can connect with her on LinkedIn, I think is the best way. But Martin, I'll hand back to you perhaps to facilitate the Q&A through till 11.
Cool, thank you. Yes, thank you all for your questions. So yeah, really good. Jane, you're the first one to ask a question. You did ask, if you have two income sources, do you have to have two ClearBooks accounts to submit to HMRC? So you will need separate ClearBooks accounts for each self-employment income source. For property income, we are looking to develop a new account type for property income, which will allow both UK and foreign property income to be recorded and submitted from one ClearBooks account. This is consistent with the approach from most other software vendors as well. Another question we had is, I have clients with under 20 transactions a year and more than one business, but over the 50k threshold. I just use spreadsheets and wish to continue. Will ClearBooks be able to offer a bridging system rather than starting an account for each business? So with that one, you can continue to use spreadsheets, but the transaction detail will need to be imported into MTD for income tax capable software. So that could be imported into ClearBooks via CSV imports. The submission totals must be generated from the digital records. Technically, you cannot simply generate totals from non-MTD software and type them into MTD recognized software. ClearBooks is designed as a full end-to-end MTD software, so keeping digital records and submitting to HMRC directly from these records, it is not designed as a bridging software.
Oh, sorry, I don't know who asked that question because it's come through anonymously. But if and also for Jane as well, you know, as things develop throughout the year, we're keen to get your feedback and to understand, you know, perhaps you know, if there's different requirements that you've got that become evident over time. We're keen to hear from you. So yeah, that's absolutely the case at the moment. But we might, you know, we're open to feedback so we can try and make sure that we're solving your practice issues in the best way. So yeah, please do feel free to reach out, and we'd love to hear more about you know, how you work as a practice and how you work with your clients, so we can make sure that we're giving you the best technology solution for that.
Cool, thanks, David. And then I had another question. Is there training on how to upload the photos of invoices for myself and my clients, as I haven't tried to do them yet? So yes, I can provide free training for you and your clients. So you can scan the QR code, which you can see on the screen. You can book a one-to-one consultation with me to go through that. There is also a brief video overview on our ClearBooks YouTube channel. So do look up our YouTube channel for anything if you do want to see anything like that. But yeah, happy to provide training on that one. And then we do have some other questions, which I'll put to David and Pete. One question we had is, if MTD is linked to the individual, what about partnerships?
Yeah, partnerships aren't in scope of MTD at the moment. Pete, you're a little bit closer to the details here. Did you want to share something about that?
Yeah, there's still no date yet for when partnership income is going to be part of MTD. So yeah. At the moment, it's just something that I said. So, as far as we know, it will eventually become part of MTD. But yeah, right now there's just no requirement. So if you've got partnership income, you're just excluded from MTD, basically.
I guess it's interesting to point if there's a property that's jointly owned, although that's not, you know, legally technically a partnership, it sort of fits in that space, and that is in scope. There's some different rules around joint property, and so that will come out in due course. But ClearBooks will be supporting joint property for property income.
Brilliant. Another question. So you can use ClearBooks for year-end procedure. Will you manually enter other income such as divs and pensions?
I can answer that one. Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're literally developing this as we speak. So yeah, the ClearBooks year-end dashboard, you'll be able to link to any of the other incomes such as dividends, pensions, state benefits, plus all the other like allowances and reliefs. There's basically everything that's there in a normal tax return. So yes, that's right. That you'll just be able to manually enter that information.
Cool. Cheers, Pete. And we had another one. I understand that VAT filing is an obligation and results in a financial transaction. However, can we file rogue information for 3 quarters as there is no financial impact on an individual? Will HMRC investigate or review this?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, you can do that. And I think the short answer is no, they won't investigate it. But Pete, did you have a view?
No, it's a great question. And yeah, I think that's why, you know, I mentioned in my demo that you know, it's just down to how pragmatic you want to be. Like what's being submitted are the totals of the digital records. There's nothing behind it, like in terms of like what HMRC can see, that all they get are the totals. And there's no requirement whatsoever for them to be accurate from an accounting point of view or even complete. So yeah, you could file rogue information, and certainly for the first few years, I'd be very surprised if there's any investigations into this. But yeah, I don't want to encourage anyone to sort of bypass the whole thing. But yeah, technically speaking, like you don't need to spend any time checking through the numbers. It's really down to you as an accountant how much of a service you want this to be for your clients, or how much of just a compliance process you want it to be.
I think there will be no sort of requirements or penalties or anything related to what is in the submission, but there will ultimately be penalties for late submissions or for not submitting. So during the voluntary phase, which has started now. I believe those are all, there are no penalties, because it's if you file late or forget to file, it doesn't matter. That's the point of this phase, which is why it's a great reason to get involved in it. But in the future, it's anticipated that there will be penalties for not filing or for filing late, regardless of what's in the filing.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jane and Martin, for your questions there. We did have one last question, which is, what will the cost of the software be? So prices do vary. What I would recommend is scanning that QR code, booking in a meeting with me, and we can run through ClearBooks. I do offer demos. We can talk about your practice, and then we can provide that information. So yeah, as soon as we find out more about your practice. So yeah, I think that's all the questions that we have. Rumana, I do apologise earlier on for cutting you short, but guys, if you do want to connect with Rumana on LinkedIn, then just search Rumana Jeffreys, and she'll be really easy to find, so you can connect from there, follow her posts, like them, do what you want. And then if you, as David says, if you want to get in touch, you can call that number or email us at thepartners@clearbooks.co.uk email, or you can scan that QR code and we can book in a free consultation. So I think that's it from everyone. So thank you very much for joining us. It's been a really interesting hour. If you have any questions, do reach out, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.